before the Hyborian Age, Atlantis slipped beneath the waves. Its great civilization destroyed by cataclysm. But even until the Hyborian Age, its ruins remain. Great places of power and magic and adventure. And today, on Starships and Steel, we're going to build some Atlantean ruins. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Starships and Steel. Today we're talking about Conan again, talking about the Hyborian Age, and today we're going to craft some runes. We're going to build these runes today, like a marble mausoleum or maybe an opening to a set of stairs that lead down into the basement. It comes off. You've got a fully textured floor, so you can play with it however you want. Pretty cool. We'll talk about that. We'll go over how I built that, mostly. I accidentally did not record some of the assembly, but you guys better figure it out. Atlantis, of course, took place before Conan's time, and the character from that time was called the Conqueror, and King Cole, whoever you want to call him. And they made a movie with him, starring Kevin Sorbo. Not the best movie in the world. It was supposed to be a Conan movie, but that didn't work out, so they rewrote it as a Cole movie. Can't win them all. I got very little to say today. Zombicide just finished yesterday, and they broke a lot of money. And why do I care? Because they have a Thulsa Doom miniature in there who's going to be cool. Once I get him, I will, of course, share him with you guys and everything else I get in that box set, which is a lot of figures. That won't be till next year sometime, so that's all I got coming, right? Well, it's not all I have coming right now. I got a couple other Kickstarters coming. I got a dwarf card game coming that Drunken and Dragons Hanker Fernail did the art for. Looking forward to that. Should be here in the next week, maybe. It's shipped already, so get here when it gets here. Of course, we'll drink some drinks. This is what we do here. I have no beer. I got Jameson's Black Barrel Irish Whiskey. So this is a tribute to the legacy of charring barrels before filling them. Our groupers called it bringing the wood back to life. Black Barrel features double charred bourbon barrels that deliver unique spiciness, vanilla sweetness, and nutty notes. As you guys can tell, this is not my first drink of this, because I bought it on the weekend when we were playing Conan, and I wasn't waiting for you guys. So cheers, give that a shot. It's got a nice color, which I like. Good black bush kind of color, same idea I suspect. Pretty tasty. Would buy again, so we'll give that, obviously not the same scale as beer, even though I'm going to do it out of 5 steins, but we'll give it 4 out of 5 steins. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Well, I got nothing else to say, so let's get up to the craft room and build our Atlantean tomb. I didn't paint the bottom, I never do. Although it is cardboard this time at least. Anyways, let's get up there and build that. And you guys can hopefully follow along if you want to build your own, or at least get some good ideas.
So we're going to start our construction with a basic sketch of what we want to build. This will give us forward direction, give us an idea of what it's going to look like when it's finished. So next to this figure, this sketch we've done, I've drawn a stick figure, which is the size of a standard human being. So it'll give you an idea of the size of this whole thing. On the side here, I have a couple of block sketches, which just give us an idea of the actual pieces that we're going to need to go forward. Once we have that, we can then go forward and take an actual miniature and use that to represent the stick figure in the last one, and then we can use that to draw out our template so it's approximately the size we envisioned in our sketch. So once we've got that all finished, we can go forward and start showing, we have our template here, so now we've got it drawn out. We're going to take that, we're going to use our razor knife, and we are going to use that to cut out that template. You can use a straight edge here if you want to, make sure it's metal. Once you have that, we need 3 of these, so we're going to take our template, put it on our styrofoam, and just get an idea of the total amount of styrofoam we're going to need for all 3 pieces, and we're going to cut that out of our main block. That'll be easier to work with than just a single large piece of styrofoam, unless you've got a really big table. So once we've got that, we're going to take our paper template and we are going to place that on our styrofoam. We're going to trace around it, and then we're going to take our razor knife and we're going to cut that out very carefully using a straight edge if you have one, again metal, and we're going to make a lot of shallow cuts. So lots of little shallow cuts, that way you'll get a really good cut when you're done. Once you have that one, we're going to use that piece to be the template for the next 2 pieces because it's easier to trace, and we're going to use that and just cut those out again as well. So once you get that, we're going to put our template back on our 2 front pieces, and we're going to use that to trace out our line for the door. So we'll just take our pen and trace that line, and that'll leave a little indent in the foam. We'll take our template off and then draw that line in so we can see it. Once we've got that done, we're going to take our razor knife again and we're going to cut that door out. We're going to do that very, very carefully. If you have a smaller knife, you can probably do this better than what I did here. If you have a hot wire cutter, it will also be a lot better. But just be patient and cut it out slowly, and eventually you'll get a decent door cut out of it. So once you got these 2 pieces cut out, I'm going to illustrate a problem I had here, which is why it's good to plan your stuff out better than I apparently did. When I did this piece, I've got my 2 front pieces and then another depth for the door, but my second piece in should be shorter, should be narrower. So this picture kind of shows you what I'm talking about there. So I need to cut off these 2 side pieces so that it'll line up with the wall segments, and therefore I'll just have the front and the back sticking out with little buttresses. I'll also need to take out a little bit more off because I want to line up some foam core to cover those joins up, as well as be a thing I can put some runes or a fresco on at the end. So once I get all that done, I'm just going to lay out my pieces how they are here and give it an idea of the size of the walls. So in this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. So we'll just take our current wall segments that we have from the front and the back, and we're going to use those on our XPS to determine the height of our wall, and then we'll just draw a line across our whole piece. We'll cut that whole thing out. So that's going to give us a nice long segment of wall. Once we have that, we're going to square it off on our cutting mat and then cut off 2 6-inch segments, and that'll give us the majority of our main structure. Once we've got that, we're just going to dry fit this together, and that way we can find out exactly what we need for our foam core, and we can cut that out as well. So we just lay out our wall foam core size on our foam core, and we will then cut it out so we have 2 panels, 1 for each side of our mausoleum or tomb. Once we've done that, we will of course peel off one side of the paper from each sides of the foam core because we're going to want to use that to detail it in later. And once we've got that all finished, we're going to take the glue and the foam core and the XPS. We're going to glue all that together. That's going to give us our main structure. So I'm going to skip ahead here. We've got our main thing finished, so let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to draw on the side there. So I went to Ron Cobb's website. He was the concept artist for a lot of movies, but most notably for us, Conan the Barbarian. So we've got a picture of the Atlantean king here from the Atlantean tomb from the movie, and I've zoomed in on the bottom part of this, and I'm going to use that to inspire or copy elements for the side of this tomb. So now that you've seen that, a little quick video here of me sketching onto the foam core with the ballpoint pen freehand. Did one on the back, or one on each side, and they're exactly the same. Once you've got all that done and the work finished, before or after, it doesn't really matter. We need to measure a roof slab, and I decided to do this based on the finished structure versus being based on measures of what it's supposed to be. So I've got my completed base. We're just going to put that upside down or measure it or whatever you want to do on a piece of XPS, and we'll trace that out, and then we'll use our razor knife to again cut that out with nice shallow cuts repeatedly until we get a nice excellent edge on there. And then I decided to do a little bit more. I kind of angled my knife in at 45 degrees and sort of slowly worked that through, made sure my knife was really sharp, and I got a basic 45-degree angle on the top of that roof. Again, if you had a hot foam table cutter, that would make this a lot easier, but I don't, so I use the knife. Once that's done, glue that foam on top, and you'll have your basic structure finished. So now we're just going to take our razor knife and we're going to draw some blocks on there, and we're just going to go shallow, and we're going to do basic layout of what we want for blocks. We're going to do some blocks along the top, we're going to do some blocks on the buttresses, and once we have them all kind of cut in there, we take our uniball pen and we're just going to redefine all of those cut marks just to give them a bit more relief, so when we paint it they stand out better. And when we're done that, we're going to go back in with our uniball pen and draw some cracks in the old stone because it's not new anymore. And when we do that, we can do a little bit more. We can go in with our razor knife and just pop out some kind of missing pieces of stone, especially where they come together as little V sections on your cracks. So that gives us our basic mausoleum. We can still do a little bit more stuff there. So I'm going to take some cocktail forks that I have here, and I'm just going to cut the bottoms off. So I'm just going to score them with the knife and then snap them. Then I'm going to use the tops of those to glue them into place to give it a little bit more curvy, cool looking, maybe iron work on there. I also glued a little bit of chipboard as well as some gems just to make it more interesting. And then I just hot glued all that together. So once we've got that, we're going to take our finished piece here, assembled piece, not finished. We're going to put that on our piece of XPS, and we're just going to eyeball a base size. This is what you're going to set the piece on to give it a little bit of interest on the table. Maybe a little bit of protection. I'm going to take my cutout piece of XPS and I'm going to glue a piece of chipboard on the bottom just to give it a bit more protection from everything. So then I'm going to take my razor knife. I'm going to again mark out some detail areas. I'm going to use my uniball pen to re-go over those and give you some more relief. Then I'm going to draw some cobblestones in the middle. If you wanted to glue your whole structure together, you could choose to not do the detailing inside, but I wanted to be able to take my piece off. So this is just me continuing as I talk here to go through and detail up my base. So once that's all done, we've got our top piece done, we got it detailed, we got the bottom piece done, we got it detailed. We're going to go forward and we're going to paint this with a black base coat. And this is basically the same recipe that Blackmagic Craft uses on his stuff. We're going to take a cup, we're going to put in some Mod Podge, we're going to put in a little bit of Flow Aid and water, and then we're going to put in some black paint, and we're going to mix that all together, and we're going to keep adding a little bit of water and Flow Aid just until it's nice and flowy, but not like a wash. We actually want some pigment in there, but we want it to flow into the cracks. So here's me painting all this on. This is pretty basic, so I'm not going to show you the whole thing. Just cover the whole thing in paint until you're done. Go forward from there. So generally most stone structures are done kind of with a bunch of grays. I chose to do something a bit different. And I wanted to do a little bit of marble structure on here. So this is a screenshot of some marble I found. I wanted to do it green, so I have a green screenshot to give you a sample of what we're going to do. So we're going to take these 4 green paints. So this is just a dark to light green. And we're going to take a sponge like this. I'm going to cut it into a sponge shape so we can hold on to it easy. And then we're just going to start with the dark green paint, get some sponge in that dark green, and then give that black structure a pretty solid coverage. Once that's done, we're going to do that with the medium green again. So we can take our sponge, get the medium green on there, and go over it and give it, again, a lot of coverage, but not quite as much as a dark green. And then once that's done, we're going to do the light green, same thing. Then a very light green, same thing, both times reducing the amount of coverage you have. When you're done, you should have a pretty mottled looking stone structure, which is a bunch of interesting green colors, and it should look pretty cool. And then if we remember going back to that screenshot of the marble, there's usually some parallel veins in there, some like lightning bolts. So we're just going to take some light green paint again, and we're going to go in and we're going to draw those veins all over the structure, just like you saw in that marble screenshot. Once that's done and that's dry, the next thing we're going to do is add some foliage, some flocking to it. So we're just going to take some full strength white glue, and we are going to draw some vines on that piece. And once it's drawn on there, we're going to hit that with some flock. I think this is just Woodland Scenics, which seems expensive, but they're really big and it'll last a long time. Just make sure you catch the stuff that doesn't go on the model. So we're going to do that over a few places on the model, and once that's done, we're going to let it dry. Once it's dry, we're going to take some 50/50 PVA and water, or scenic cement, or something along those lines, and we're going to apply that over top of our foliage flocking stuff. And then we're going to blot it out with a piece of paper towel or tissue paper, just to get off the stuff that doesn't go where we want it to go. So it'll soak into the flocking and hold it still, but we don't want it stuck all over the foam and paint job. Once that's done and it's all dry, the next thing we're going to do is take a varnish. So this is just a semi-gloss varnish from the art store. I'm going to take that, and we use this actually through the Black Walls of Chemi, one of my other videos, to get a shiny stone structure again. So same thing here, give us a polished kind of look. We're just going to take that, we're going to paint it all over the structure, and once it's dry, we will have pretty much a completed piece. So let's take this piece and see what it looks like on the table. And here it is, looking pretty good. So you can see it from different angles, you can see how big it is with the miniatures, and that gives us a completed piece for our table. So if you liked my video, please click like down below. If you thought it was useful and you might have wanted to see more videos by me and more ideas that I might have, please click subscribe. And I will talk to you all later, and see you on the next episode of Starships and Steel.